of our region during the difficult times of colonialism. Honorable Speaker, for many decades, President Banda have tirelessly worked closely with and made an outstanding leadership and statesperson. President Kenneth David Kaunda Banda worked with Comrade Rapia Kaunda. He was therefore amongst those Zambian like KK who was ready to make the necessary sacrifice to help ensure the total liberation of Africa. Honorable Speaker, lastly, we want to convey our heartfelt condolences to the Banda family, as well as to President Haikan Chimana, and through him to the government of Zambia at the loss of an eminent compatriot. May the esteemed President Rupia Banda rest in eternal peace. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Shangwe.
Somlomo ngibingelele ndunankulu ngibingelele nabo bonke bahlonishwa nawo wonke ma-opposition party sibonge kakhulu isishukumiso esiphakamiswa ngu-Chief Whip of the Majority Party nathi singihulumende waseMpumalanga oholwa ngumama uRefilwe Mthweni sizwelana namndeni wakhe nezihlobo zakhe nawo wonke osondelene naye kupolitiki kanye nakuhulumende waseMalawi siphinde futhi sisho ukuthi we take note ukuthi as South Africa were part of the SADC family, and we take note also ukuzimela sovereignty of a particular country with its politics. On that note, sibonga kakhulu sivumelana nawe Chief Whip, taking note of all the facts that have raised ukuthi we were mindful as the provincial government of Mpumalanga as well as the government of South Africa that Malawi is a sovereign country belonging to SADC with its politics and its dynamics within their country. And thank you very much.
Honorable Ngomane.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me greet all members of the legislature, Honorable Premier. Honorable Speaker, the ANC has always maintained that the Democratic Alliance, DA, is non-democratic organization, but a shadow of the former apartheid regime. Honorable Speaker, today we woke up to the unsurprisingly news of the resignation of the DA MPL in KZN Malintuli, who happened to challenge Ubas Hazen. We have witnessed the exodus of the likes of Musima Imane, Lindiwe Mazibugo, Mashaba, Van Dam, etc. To mention but a few. This confirms the DA modus operandi of using black leaders to lure back blacks voters during election only to be dumped like a used toilet paper afterwards. The DA declined during the 2019 elections. They realized that their modus operandi is not working. Then the elders had an outcry that the party was losing its historic identity of being purely white. Honorable Speaker, we expect the likes of Honorable Stole, Honorable Grovier Morgan, and others to come back because they belong here. If they don't do that, they are going to follow the likes of Mbali and Musi. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Changwe.
Ngibonge kakhulu somlomo sengibingelele ngibonge isiphakamiso ngomhlonishwa uNgomane isiphakamiso esifactual isiphakamiso that no one can dispute. It's something that happened yesterday and it was all over the media. It was even difficult for ETA to comment because the person that resigned is not just an ordinary member, is an intellectual, somebody who is very brilliant and a woman for that fact. And we want to join you, Babu Ngomane, as the African National Congress and as the government of the ANC, really to echo the sentiment that we will love to have people like Abo Mamos Tall, people with substance, people who read AMA rules and regulations of the legislature and be able to interpret them correctly. Have people like Bohrove, people that support us as a government, as this past weekend, Besinembizo no Premier Elguatin were always with the honorable member, Honorable Khorovier. And we want really to say, keep it up, honorable members. It's really appreciated. The politics that ensued from time to time between us and yourselves, it does not make us enemies. We understand each other's potential and we value it. And we value the potential in you, Mam Stole. And really we love one day to work with you. As the African National Congress, you will remember that a PA to MEC Public Works, Roads and Transport was once a think tanker of ETA in the province. And it was me, Ushongwe, as the former treasury of the African National Congress, that recruited 8 of your very good members from ETA, and they are with us here. Very responsible, contributing very well, working very well with us. And thank you very much. That is good politics, Speaker. Very good politics. We want to encourage you, honorable members, to come over to us. We love you so much. You know, the way you speak and the way you articulate issues, and the way I can see and hear, Uguti, you are a product of the Model C schools. We want you this side. Thank you very much.
Are there any member statements? Honorable Mkabela.
Cancer, Honorable Speaker, and greetings to the House. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Economic Freedom Fighters to raise a member statement and welcome the Public Protector's findings on the investigations conducted in terms of Section 182 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, 1996, read with Section 6 and 7 of the Public Protector Act 23 of 1994. That is implicating the municipal manager of Dr. J.S. Moroka Municipality. Among other issues, Honorable Speaker, the executive mayor was found to be abusing the mayoral vehicle. A certain service provider was paid 10 million instead of 1 million rand. Honorable Speaker, the speaker was found living in the municipal property where services are paid by the municipality. And the speaker announced the results that were fraudulent and rigged during the voting processes. Honorable Speaker, the public protector found that some of the executive managers are not suitable, qualified for competent to hold the office, and that there is political interference in the administration issues of the municipality. I thank you.
Honorable Shiva.
Oh, say right. Ngiyabonga kakhulu Honorable Speaker for an opportunity angubingelele ngiphinde ngibingelele no Honorable Premier nama members legislature. Ngibonge isishukumiso esiphakanyiswa Honorable Member. Ngisho ukuthi Honorable Speaker le issue akhuluma ngayo, we have as the department issued section 1061B to that municipality. And we are on top. We have investigated the matter, and the municipality have also submitted the action plan to us, of which we are monitoring it. What the finding from the public protector is something that we have already find as a COCTA. Thank you very much. And also, Honorable Speaker, I was tasked by the Honorable Premier together with the HOD also to investigate or to deal with other matters that have been raised by the public protector in other institutions, not necessarily only Dr. J.S. Moroka. Thank you very much.
Honorable Stolle.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I rise to deliver a member statement on behalf of the Democratic Alliance. Honourable Speaker, the DA acknowledges that Honourable Majuba was not well for a while, and we are happy that he is recovering. The DA further acknowledges that someone in his department misled him, which in turn, Honourable Majuba misled this House in the last sitting and said Tabachu boarding school learners are back in class. However, the DA is not surprised because lying is in the DNA of the ANC. However, the DA acknowledged that Honourable MEC relied on information provided to him by his department because he was out of action for a while. I'm sure this House would agree that he be forgiven for lying this time around and for misleading the House on a matter that was clearly not true. The DA would like to once again ask the leader of government, because the Honourable MEC is not here, hoping this time around there will not be lies. Tell this House, inform this House as to when the learners of Tabachu Boarding School will return to learning, as their future are being robbed by a government that doesn't care. And when will the water crisis at Tabachu Boarding School be resolved? Because this is robbing the learners of their future. And I will stress that while these learners are at home, the parents are also frustrated because they can't go to work. These learners are loitering the streets because this government is stealing their future, not only stealing their money, not only looting their coffers, but stealing their future by keeping them at home. I'm sure that's what you specialize in. Thank you.
Honorable Shangwe.
Siyabonga kakhulu isishukumiso siphakamiswa ngumhlonishwa esingeke siphikisane naso kuphela nje singasho ukuthi isizathu sokuthi abantwana baphume lapha esikolweni bakhishwa indaba yamanzi ama-pumps amathathu onakala uhulumende waseMpumalanga wawa order from Gauteng. Gauteng could not supply them on time. So eventually the provincial government had to source them from Bloemfontein, Free State. which they have now sent them. And the plan going forward is to make sure, because kuyatshontshwa laphaya, kutshontshwa abantu bakithi laphayana. Kufuneka sifake ifence lapha. Lalela mhlonishwa ungadleki vele kutshontsha abantu bakini lapha. Futhi ngathi ngilaba khuluma le language le. Bese bafaka le fence. Uma sekufake le fence kufakwe nama camera and everything, and then kufakwe ne security that will have quack bites from time to time to patrol the area, so that that particular challenge cannot happen in future. It's not a matter out of the MEC of Education or the department itself. It's because of the behavior, you know, of our people that we all know. Sitting here, I think we are almost all victims of abantu bakithi who wants every time to live on stealing. Unnecessary things sometimes. We know what there's poverty, but some of them, instead of ukuthi makangene kakho atshontshe kudla, uzawutshontsha ifridge yonke ahambe nayo, or atshontshe nemoto, so uyamangala ukuthi imoto iyadliwa na. So that is the situation which we are dealing with, even ourselves as the Department of Community Safety, Security and Licensing, together with abafundisi abaholi bethu bendabuko nawo wonke nje ongumholi nama politicians ukuthi silweni nalobugebengu obukhona. And I want members of the legislature, because ourselves as executive member, we are members of the legislature before we become executive members, to work as members of the legislature in the manner that Umama Khrovier asebenza ngayo every time when we are out on Izimbizo as the Department of Community Safety, Security, Licensing, in the province. She's always there, giving ideas, assisting where she can assist. If we can have members of the legislature who behave in that way, I think so.
Honorable Weber.
Madam Speaker, may I take this opportunity to greet my friends and to greet my foes. There's only one real opposition. If you want to talk to the real opposition, you speak to me. I want to say something directly to Honorable Shongwe. The member of the DA, James Sitole, Honorable Sitole, will never join the ANC. Agan bogo go to Ganzagan lapa, bofu. So you're sonder. Madam Speaker, a member of the public asked the Freedom Front Plus to investigate allegations regarding a major vehicle accident on the 25th of February involving 27 people. These people were all taken to Tonga Hospital to be treated. Upon the arrival of a private company, Trafcol, to the hospital, they found that most of the injured people were not being treated at all. Patients were discharged prematurely, and some of the patients' wounds were not treated at all. Trafcol members had to inform the doctors more than once to attend to different patients who were injured. The Freedom Front Plus was supplied with photos of affected patients not having received proper treatment. On the 11th of March, the same situation occurred at Tonga. One patient had an open radius ulnar fracture, yet the patient received little or no treatment. Several patients' wounds started rotting after a few days. Once again, photos of this were supplied to the Freedom Front Plus. There are several similar complaints from various members of the public regarding incidents like this at Tonga, Temba, Witbank, Mkondo, and Rob Ferreira hospitals. When patients are in hospitals for extended periods of time and do not receive any medical attention, they want to return back home. And what the doctors then do is have the patient sign an RXT. In other words, they sign that they refuse to receive medical attention and then discharge the patient. This is very bad for the patients, as when they have road accident claims, the fact that they have signed an RXT would negatively affect the injured individual's claim. They will also not be accepted into another medical facility, and usually the patient ends up passing away. The Freedom Front Plus has proof of many incidents at many hospitals where injured patients were treated with disrespect and without any empathy by government hospital officials. The conditions are filthy, not hygienic, and uncivilized. It is time for the Department of Health to step up and drastically intervene to improve dismal and life-threatening lack of care and conditions. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Manzini.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. We note what Honorable Weber is saying, but also I think to be generally, then that is a problem. It can't be that all the hospitals that you're mentioning, maybe there was an incident in Tonga that you received, but the good way, as a member of the provincial legislature, you don't wait for this sitting for you to raise that. Like other members here, they call me immediately, because if the aim is to respond and assist our people as a member, you must immediately call the MEC. MEC, there's a problem here, resolve it, because sometimes you will find that the MEC is not aware of all these things on a daily basis. But I want to advise Honorable Weber, next time, don't write, criticize if the aim, especially because in terms of health issues, is to save lives. Let's all make sure that we assist in this oversight and are able to assist our people. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Executive statements. I am informed that there are no executive statements. Motions without notice. Are there any motions without notice? Honorable Shabalala.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to move a motion without notice on behalf of the African National Congress to applaud the Department for Finance, Economic Development and Tourism under the capable leadership of MEC PV Mkhatshwa with his senior officials for successfully undertaking a series of engagements with local municipalities on financial administration and governance throughout the province. Noting that by law it is expected that municipalities must table credible budget to their respective councils and also prioritize services and be accountable to their citizens. Further noting that in light of the current state of the municipalities in the province, and in order to stabilize municipalities, the provincial government will from time to time hold accountable and work with all our municipalities in the province to deal with issues of administration that also, as the provision of the relevant section of the Constitution, also identify municipality that needs urgent attention. Honorable Speaker, I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. So agreed. Are there any motions? Honorable Makarenge.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise to table a motion on behalf of the African National Congress to commend our government for taking decisive action to ensure that livelihood of millions of young people who have been threatened by the coronavirus pandemic. An amount of 4.5 billion was planned for a 4-month contract and was officially implemented from 1 December 2020 to 30 March 2021. It was extended by 1 month, which stretched until 30 April 2021. The initiative managed to employ more than 320,000 young people. The Department of Basic Education confirmed the phase 3 of the Presidential Youth Employment Initiative in the basic education sector will commence from 1 April 2022 until 30 August 2022. The Presidential Youth Employment Initiative is implemented as the basic education employment initiative across all 9 provinces and has succeeded in the reduction of youth unemployment in the country. Honorable Speaker, we are pleased that our government has also reprioritized funding this initiative. This will go a long way in creating jobs and reducing hunger and poverty. I thank you.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. As so agreed. Honorable Nyembe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters to raise a motion without notice about a 9-year-old boy, Meloguhle Shabalala, who was paralyzed by the tree that fell on him on 12 November 2021 at Nyandeni Primary School in Standerton. Meloguhle Shabalala was left paralyzed and wheelchair-bound with fewer chances of walking again. The Wheatbank Hospital confirmed that the child sustained polytraumatic injuries to his brain, leg, and spine. What raises eyebrows is the fact that the department is failing to explain to the parents what transpired on that day. The father requested that the school provide a report of the incident as well as the video footage, which the school promised to give him. But when he went to collect the information as agreed, the school principal said the department forbade them from divulging information as the matter was with the department's provincial lawyers. It is a sad matter that we trust school with our children, but when incident happens, as parents, we should seek information from media. While the department sits on the information and they are not even related to the child, while parents are left in the dark. It is the department's responsibility to provide homeschooling and social care for that boy. I guess ben nobuntu sekabangele labazali and stop being concerned with the legal matters only and put yourself in the shoes of the parents. What is the department hiding if it was an accident or an act of nature? We don't have a caring education department, but it's namazimu. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. Motion is defeated. Is there any motion? Honorable Javier Morgan.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Democratic Alliance to deliver a motion without notice. Honorable Speaker, the state of the road network in our province is in a complete disarray, and this is severely affecting the users of roads in our province. Yesterday, I conducted an oversight in Victor Kanye and Dipalseng local municipalities, and I was quite shocked by the condition of the roads in both these municipalities and also the hurdles which users have to overcome in order to reach their destination. Honorable Speaker, the R42 in Victor Kanye is completely undrivable, and because of which it has caused damage to about 27 cars in the past 3 years, and it has also become a hijack hotspot. I'm sure the above is true on roads in all our municipalities. Further noting that in the response to oral questions, the MEC of Public Works, Roads and Transport mentioned that we would need 26 billion in order order to maintain all of our provincial roads in the province. Honourable Speaker, given the above, I call on this August House to resolve the issue of dispatching of the mechanised pothole patching vehicles, which the Premier mentioned in the State of the Province address, to these multi-million rand vehicles, which should be utilised for the purpose it was bought for. To improve the road users' safety on roads like the R42 in Victor Kanya. To devise a long-term road maintenance strategy which will address our current and future maintenance which is needed for our roads. I so move.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. As so agreed. Honourable Weber.
Madam Speaker, I rise on behalf of the only real opposition in this House. I rise on behalf of the original Freedom Fighters. On behalf of the Freedom Front Plus, I move that this House intervenes in the repeated power outages in the town of Amsterdam, in the Mkhonde local municipality. This has been a recurring issue for several years. Amsterdam receives its electricity supply directly from Mkhonde municipality. Constant power outages are unrelated to the broader Eskom load-shedding schedules. The municipality has promised to fix whatever challenges and problems there may be, yet these problems persist. A local rehabilitation center for youth in Mkhonde with borders has been without water since Monday, as they cannot pump water when there's no electricity. The town would have had electricity for 5 hours, followed by 5 hours of internal load shedding. The limit of Amsterdam's power is 1.5 megavolt amp, and the community at large exceeds this limit. Eskom implemented a nominal maximum decrease NMD, which led to only a section of Amsterdam being catered for at a time. This plan was further complicated by load shedding, and thus some parts of Amsterdam are left without electricity for up to 9 hours at a time. We require that the municipality to find solutions to the problem that have persisted for many years. I so move, Madam Speaker.
The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. The question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the motion agreed to. As so agreed. Notices of motion. Are there notices of motion? Honourable Mfokeng.
Thanks, Honourable Speaker, and greetings to the honourable members. Honourable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the economic freedom fighters to raise a notice of motion with regarding high crime rate in our schools around Gersiband, especially in Suwaliko and Governorville. In that this House in its next sitting discuss on how to support learners to have extra classes and pay focus during school hours. Honourable Speaker, currently the matriculants cannot have extra classes after school because they are being mugged and robbed even during school hours. Also, even educators are traumatized by these thugs who gain entrance and rob everyone. Honourable Speaker, we are all in this House looking forward to have proper improved results of 2022, so it is very important to support the learners. I so move.
The motion is noted and will be dealt with accordingly. Are there any notices of motion? Formal motions? I am informed that there are no formal motions. We shall proceed to the orders of the day. The Secretary shall read the first order of the day.
It's order number 1, questions for oral reply to the Honourable Premier.
I have a question paper in front of me with questions for oral reply to the Premier. I am informed that the question paper was duly circulated to all members of the legislature. We'll now proceed to questions for oral reply. The Honorable Premier, over to you. Honorable Premier, can you please take your seat? Honorable Mkabela.
Nakensa and Nagambe, Honorable Speaker, I rise to withdraw the question that was raised by me for the Honorable Premier to respond to it, because the matter is now concluded, and we, as the EFF, are happy that the Premier has withdrawn all the learners that were in the traffic college. But also we hope that the same corruption is not going to happen again, because now we have applications that were sent that are ready for shortlisting for the other intake of the new learners. Thank you very much.
I will now invite the Honorable Premier to proceed with question 2.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Once again, greetings to your good self, the Chief Whip of the Majority Party, Honorable Fidel Mlombo, the members of the Executive Council, members of the Legislature. Honorable Speaker, we are being called into the House to give account of the work that we are doing as government. And as such, questions have been asked for us to respond to in line with the rule number 105, subsection 4 of the rules and orders. Now, the first question is from Honorable Mlombo from the ANC. Honorable Premier, your administration has successfully delivered services to the people of Mpumalanga under very severe conditions of budget constraints. We have, through our own research, however, and through our own ANC oversight political work in Ward 14 in Bushbuck Ridge, discovered very touching situation of shortage of water to villages like Lekanang, Tembisa, Mostrada, Manakani, and Komambilu for so many months now. The first question, is the Premier aware of the severe shortage of water service delivery in those villages and the entire Bushbuck Ridge in general? Honourable Speaker, yes, I am aware of the challenges with water supply in Ward 14 Bushbuck Ridge local municipality. These challenges includes the inconsistent water supply in Lekanang village. This is due to the fact that the village receives water through boreholes directly into the temporal reticulation network. The Tembisa and Mostrada villages are supplied from the bulk pipeline, score valve, with 75 millimeter pipeline, and water is supplied through the rationing program. In Managi village, the receives water from communal standpipes supplied by a borehole, and the lack of formal reticulation network in Komabili village. Question 2. The water situation in Bushbuck Ridge seems to have been compounded by the removal of rainwater as well. Can the Premier indicate the reasons for stopping the rainwater roll in Bushbuck Ridge area? Madam Speaker, the rainwater contract was not renewed by the municipality due to the high costs of services provided by rainwater.
The municipality is currently providing water services internally at a very reasonable cost compared to what Rand Water used to bill them for the same services. Furthermore, the Bushbuck Ridge local municipality is currently implementing internally funded capital projects to improve water supply as a result of savings realized from cutting the burden of huge cost of providing water services through Rand Water. Inasmuch as Rand Water is no longer a service provider since the contract was terminated, we can accede to the fact that much still needs to be done to improve the capacity levels of the Bushbuck Ridge municipality to be able to carry out at least the following function on its own, which will include the full asset care and management of the existing infrastructure, the credible, efficient, and effective operations and maintenance to ensure reliable supply to all villages, the improving of skills and expertise of the process controllers who are responsible for the operation of water treatment plants, and continuous and frequent testing of bulk lines, reticulation infrastructure to counter against possible vandalism and tampering with valves that contribute to unreliable and intermittent supply to communities. For this reason, COGTA, DWS and Ehlanzeni District Municipality have been instructed to develop the overarching provincial maintenance plan with specific municipal attention. We will ensure that all villages are properly attended to and have access to running water 24/7 a week as enshrined in the Constitution of the Republic. Question 3. What are the alternative plans in place to ensure we restore reliable water supply to the mentioned villages and other places of the province? In respect of the mentioned villages, Madam Speaker, the municipality has recently adopted the Water Conservation and Demand Management Strategy in January 2022. The strategy has identified programs required to reduce water demand, improve access, and reduce water losses. The identified programs are planned for implementation in an integrated development plan for the next financial year, which is 2022-2023. In addition, we are finalizing the development of the Provincial Water Master Plan. This plan will outline the short, medium, and long-term intervention to address water challenges across the province. The Development Bank of Southern Africa has come on board to support our municipalities with master planning, project preparation, and asset care programs. To date, DBSA has approved support to Tembisile Hani municipality on a master planning to a tune of 9.5 million rand, and also approved asset care support to Governbegi, Emalahleni, and Tabachweu municipalities at an estimated value of 6 million rand. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Honourable Speaker, thank you very much. I think the response was very comprehensive. Safe to say that there is a borehole that has been dug there. The only thing that is remaining is for electricity to be put and for people to get water. But we will follow up on that. I'm happy with the response. Thank you.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? Honorable Premier, you can proceed to the next question.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The next question is from Honorable Hlophe from the ANC. It reads, the right of access to sufficient water is accorded to everyone in Section 27, subsection 1, subsection B of the Constitution, which states that everyone
has the right to have access to sufficient water. Section 27, subsection 2 requires the state to take reasonable legislative and other measures within its available resources to achieve the progressive realization of this right. In the State of the Province address last year, a commitment was made for the acceleration of the regional bulk water supply from the Loskop Dam to the communities of Tembisilehane local municipality. Research has revealed that there is water crisis in this municipality. Question 1. Is the Honourable Premier aware of the water crisis in the aforesaid municipality? In response, Madam Speaker, yes, I am aware of the water challenges in Tembisilehane. The implementation of water infrastructure is a priority of the province given the water backlogs and challenges well recorded in the province. The water problems in Tembisilehane municipality, they originate from an inadequate bulk water supply, which the provincial government, national government, and the district municipality are currently responding to. The current crisis has been exacerbated by the fact that the city of Tshwane had not adhered to the service level agreement for the monthly supply of approximately 16.8 megaliter per day, whereas only 8 megaliter per day is supplied to Tembisilehane local municipality. This problem is further compounded by the sudden drop of from 5 megaliter per day to nil supply from the Dr. J.S. Moroka Walton-Frieden water treatment plant. Both schemes should be supplying around 22.3 megaliter per day through these identified sources, and yet only 8 megaliter per day is received. Although Randwater is currently supplying at its full capacity of 32 megaliter per day, it has, however, been very expensive to contend with and limited to the capacity size of the bulk pipeline, which cannot be exceeded. Question 2. In terms of the above, is there a strategy from the provincial government to work together with the municipality to help get the current allocation of 20 megaliter that the Loskop bulk project is currently offering to be increased to 50 megaliter per day in order to meet the current demand of 80 megaliter per day? In response, Madam Speaker, the current supply is approximately 50 megaliters per day. This shall be augmented by the following measures to ensure that the demand of 80 megaliters per day is met. An additional 20 megaliter per day will be provided by the Loskop bulk water project, which makes it 70 megaliters. The Bundi bulk water supply scheme will contribute 5 megaliter per day, which will then take us to 75 megaliter per day. The drilling of additional boreholes to access groundwater will supply 5 megaliter per day. All in all, this project will then take us to 80 megaliter a day. Water recovered through water conservation and demand management, stopping of the leakages and wastage, it's about 4 megaliters per day that will be recovered through this program, which will then take us to about 84 megaliters a day. Future water requirements for Tembisilehane local municipality and other users drawing water from the Olifants catchment will be addressed through measures defined in the Olifants water reconciliation strategy compiled by the Department of Water and Sanitation. These measures include water conservation and water demand management that will recover an additional 4 megaliter per day for the Tembisilehane municipality. Question 3. Can the Honourable Premier provide timelines as to when the problem of sufficiently supplying water to this municipality will be resolved? In response, Madam Speaker, the province is now confident that the challenge of water in Tembisilehane municipality will finally be resolved. The Department of Water and Sanitation, Mpumalanga Provincial Government, and Kangala District Municipality are working together towards the implementation of the Losco Bulk Water Project that is at the tender evaluation stage. As I'm speaking here today, Madam Speaker, I can report to the House that next week we are having a joint meeting, ourselves as provincial government, the Nkangala district, and the minister responsible for DWS. We will be meeting to track progress that has been done thus far and to chart the way forward in this regard. The construction activities are planned to resume in April 2022 and completion set for April 2025. It is worth mentioning that the province, working with the district, we've managed to unlock the challenges that delayed the implementation of this project, Madam Speaker. Thank you very much.
Honorable Hlope, do you have a follow-up question?
Thokoze somlomo ngiphi ithuba awanganelisekile ngempendulo esinikezwe nguNdunankulu, ngiyathokoza.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? Can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The next question is from Honorable Grobler from DA. I see he's not in the House. May I proceed, Madam Speaker?
Yes, you can proceed. Honorable Sitole will stand in for him.
Thanks, Madam Speaker. Honorable Premier, in your 2021 State of the Province speech, you stated we have committed ourselves to intensifying the rollout of the Mpumalanga Industrial Development Plan, Nkomazi Special Economic Zone, and the Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market. These last two catalytic projects that I have mentioned have a high potential not only to place the agricultural sector on the growth trajectory, but also to create massive job opportunities for our people and investments to the province. Question 1. Can the Honorable Premier state with absolute certainty in which year will the Nkomazi Special Zone, Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market will be fully functional? In response, the Nkomazi Special Economic Zone and Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market are multi-year projects, and their functionality are heavily dependent on budget availability and to some extent investor confidence. The provincial government is at this stage the sole funder of this project, which has a bearing on their full functionality. As far as the Nkomazi SEZ is concerned, Phase 2 has a 10-year operationalization plan for the designated area, which was gazetted in March 2019. SEZs, by their nature, they are very complex projects and have a long lead time, which can take between 5 to 10 years to fully materialize. In the meantime, the following tasks that are underway to expedite the operationalization of the Nkomazi SEZ are the operationalization of the SEZ entity, the finalization of all planning approval conditions with regards to access, fencing, and other conditions of approval, design and construction of bulk service infrastructure, construction of top structure to cater for needs of the investors. Once the above mentioned tasks are completed, Phase 2, the development Phase 3, will commence. Benefits from the development in terms of the construction jobs and additional investment to the Nkomazi area will start flowing to surrounding community before we enter the development phase. Madam Speaker, let me hasten to add that based on past and previous experiences on other SEZs in other provinces, the appetite of investors is the main determining factor of how quick the process can take place. Given the geopolitical environment with which we are operating in and the economic impact of COVID-19 on infrastructural investment, and without firm
commitments by investors, the project can only be implemented in incremental stages. With regards to the Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market, the construction of the main market is expected to be completed at the end of 2022-2023 financial year, which is one pillar of the business model. However, for the market to be fully functional, all pillars of the business model have to be supported both financially and non-financially. The current business model takes care of primary production, address issues of infrastructure, logistics, and markets. Therefore, for the Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market to be fully functional, all these pillars must be operational. With the limited budget available from the fiscus, the provincial government is working hard to secure partnership for the private sector to complement the work already done. Question 2. How did the provincial government intensify these two projects in the past financial year? In response, the task of rolling out the Nkomazi SEZ was initially assigned to MEGA. We have embarked upon the following initiative to intensify the rollout of the Nkomazi SEZ. A new state-owned entity has been created to accelerate the implementation of the Nkomazi SEZ. An SEZ board was put in place to provide policy direction and oversight on the project. Strengthening of the project management unit to provide technical support. The institutional arrangement were improved to unlock bottlenecks that are confronting the Nkomazi SEZ, like the township establishment and addressing the conditions of establishment. We have stabilized the governance-related issues through seconding senior officials to strategic positions in a newly created entity. Weekly technical meetings are conducted by the department with relevant provincial government departments as well as the district and local municipalities, and reporting regularly to both the MEC and the Ministry of Trade and Competition about progress with the implementation. The investment pipeline was strengthened in terms of revisiting the investors that have shown interest and inviting and enlisting new investors. In relation to the Mpumalanga International Fresh Produce Market, realizing the slow pace of delivery of MEGA, Cabinet took a decision to assign public work in the delivery of the construction of the main market. Public Works was also tasked with the completion of earthworks from phase 1. Additional funding was also mobilized from the fiscus as part of fast-tracking the implementation of the main market. An operationalization framework was developed to guide the full implementation of the International Fresh Produce Market. The framework takes care of all the pillars of the fresh produce business model. Question 3. What is Mpumalanga government's potential investment costs before these two projects became operational? The financial projection for the total implementation of the Nkomazi SEZ is estimated at 1.2 billion rand from the provincial fiscus. The cost estimation includes the setups, the step-up, bulk and top infrastructure, as well as the operationalization of the zone. The projected total investment cost for the International Fresh Produce Market is about 2 billion rand. This includes expenditure on bulk utility infrastructure for water, sewer, and electricity, roads and stormwater, internal services, reticulation, professional services, and construction of top structure, including the market and agro-processing buildings, taxi and bus ranks, and other facilities that are ancillary to the market. Question 4. What are the current challenges facing these two projects, ensuring that they are completed on time? The challenges that are facing the Nkomazi SEZ includes the following: the construction of the new N4 interchange road that will provide access to Nkomazi SEZ zone. This is complex undertaking that will require detailed planning and adequate budgeting from SANRAL. This interchange has been placed as a condition
before development could commence on the SEZ site. The detailed designs required for the acquisition of the water use license have been subjected to delays. The main challenges that confronted the international fresh produce market were stoppages caused by labor-related issues, which resulted in the project losing time and incurring penalties. Further to this was the inadequate funding towards the project, since it was solely funded from the provincial fiscus. Question 5. How much investment is needed from the private sector to ensure that these two projects become fully operational? Insofar as the Nkomazi SCZ project is concerned, the total infrastructure capital investment required is estimated at 8.4 billion rand, with annual revenue from rental and services rendered of 6.1 billion rand expected by year 10 of operations. Investment will be implemented according to need, with an initial amount of 2.1 billion rand required during the first 3 years from both the provincial fiscus and investors. The projected investment by private sector investors in industrial facilities located within the SCZ will be 20.7 billion rand. By year 10, of which 12.8 billion rand is anticipated to be foreign direct investments. As indicated in above, the projected total investment required will be 2 billion rand for the main market development of the international fresh produce market. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Sithole, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. I just want to find out from the Honourable MEC, because currently the Mpumalanga government is struggling to get investors. She's alluded to the fact that there is no appetite from investors, and without firm commitment from investors, it looks like these projects will never be realized. We couldn't secure investors when the environment globally and locally was much better. Now with COVID and the war and all the other things that comes with affecting environments, securing investment becomes even more difficult. How sure are we that these projects will actually ever be realized? Because currently government is the only entity investing in them, and there is no private or appetite from investors. Or is it going to end up with just government only investing, which then will take many, many years to complete without this appetite from investors or without investors? Thank you.
Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think Honourable Stolle has missed something. There is, to some extent, an appetite for investors to come and invest, but we've not yet. This is still work in progress. I know, seated where I am, there are 3 companies that have already shown interest with this development, and therefore we are still in discussions with those companies so that we can finalize once any of them would have keen interest to put up money, and then accordingly we'll come back and report to the House. But there is definitely interested investors that want to come. And of course, some of the other things that are delaying investors from coming in, it has to do with COVID-19 as well. And of course, the recent developments of war that we are seeing might have a direct impact as well on the investors as to whether are they coming to the fore or not, in particularly the international one. So yes, it is something that we need to navigate through with care, and with time, definitely we might be getting something out of that. And of course, just recently we had discussions with the president, who has shown appetite to say that he even committed that he will be visiting the Nkomazi SCZ, because as national, they are too having direct interest in that regard. Now we are still awaiting their visit. Hopefully it will have positive spin-off, and once that is procured through the PICC, we will then have a firm commitment to say that how much can they bring in
to assist in this regard. So those are things that are taking place, as I'm indicating that this is an ongoing process. But as, of course, as provincial government, there are legislative imperatives that we need to accede to before the actual construction begins in earnest. We will have to continue with everything. As you would remember, just recently the MEC for Finance has tabled a budget, and there is money that has been allocated to the tune, which will look at all those legislative requirements and including the construction of the fence in that regard. So we are going ahead, engaging all the strategic partners. The good part of it is the Department of Trade and Investment, they are part of the board. They are sharing that board. And we did that deliberately so, because in the main, that is, they are competent. They've got extensive experience in this regard, which will necessitate, will enable us to execute this responsibility with ease. And for them coming to the fore, it has assisted a lot in terms of fast-tracking most of the issues that ought to be done. It's no longer a trial and error exercise to us. It is coupled with extensive experience that they are also bringing into the project. So yes, we know that there is an appetite. All of us, we just want to see the SEZ being finalized. But unfortunately, some of the things, they don't just come overnight. They take time. And we just have to be content with that and move with the flow. However, as we do that, we must not lower our guards and make sure that things are being dragged backwards. Rather, we must push forward to make sure that we are executing that responsibility within the reasonable timelines. Thanks, Madam Speaker.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? Can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The next question is from Honorable Weber. In the consolidated PFMA General Report 2020-2021 of the Auditor General, it was shown that several overall audit outcomes regressed. Two of these were the Office of the Premier and the Department of Human Settlements. The revenue generating departments such as sorry, I think I've just jumped to, oh yes, no. Now, question one. The revenue generating departments such as the Provincial Department of Community Safety, Security and Liaison, and public entities such as the Mpumalanga Economic Growth Agency and Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency continue to struggle to convert revenue into cash. These auditees have accepted and reported that they will not be able to collect 1.4 million rand, which is about 89%, 306 million rand, which is about 89%, and 7 million, which amounts to 79% owed to them compared to the revenue earned, respectively. Due to the lack of effective collection measures, these auditees depend on an already constrained annual appropriation when they could be self-sustaining. What steps and action plans have been taken by the Premier to improve the collection measures? In response, Madam Speaker, MEGA is working on developing a revenue enhancement strategy which will assist in improving its revenue collection. Effective debt collection is one of the pillars that constitute MEGA's financial status recovery plan. Furthermore, MEGA has already appointed a debt collector to augment its own debt collection efforts. The service provider has already entered into service level agreement with MEGA and commenced its operational activities. The expectation is that the service provider will provide MEGA with a quarterly progress report in terms of debt collection for all the accounts that have been handed over. The MTPA accrued revenue emanates from the concessionaries who could not be able to pay the concession fees during hard lockdown, where there were restrictions of movements to fight the COVID-19 pandemic. The tourism sector was highly affected by the restriction in movement necessitated by the state of disaster regulations. The MTPA has thus far recovered the accrued revenue. The entity has entered into payment agreement with the concessionaries to recover the outstanding revenue. Surveillance cameras and cashless and revenue collection systems have been installed at pay points in tourism attraction centers of the Panorama route in the Blade River Canyon and Manyeleti Nature Reserve. In order to increase tourist visitor numbers, the entity is also improving the condition of existing hospitality tourism facilities and tourist experiences to improve revenue collection. With regards to the Department of Community Safety, Security and Licensing, the department has taken over some of the registration and licensing function from 12 municipalities, and the function for the remaining 8 municipalities will be taken in due course. There has been a material improvement in the collection of motor vehicle license revenue from the municipalities that have been taken over. The continuous meetings are being held by Department of Community Safety, Security and Licensing and Provincial Treasury with municipalities not taken over to ensure there is compliance in transferring the collected revenue in line with the service level agreement entered into by the department and the affected municipalities. Municipalities have been requested to submit the payment plans for the outstanding debt. The DCSSL also submits monthly reconciliations and age analysis to municipalities so that the debt is managed effectively. Legal processes are instituted for municipalities that are not honoring their payments. Accounting officers of local municipalities are always conscientized that revenue not transferred to the department amounts to misconduct and failure to collect the due revenue in terms of the Public Finance Management Act, Section 38, subsection 1C. Question 2. The limited funds available are also needed for infrastructure development, yet the province has still not mastered effective infrastructure project management. The Provincial Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, the province's mandated implementing agent responsible for procuring and implementing infrastructure projects, is at the center of these project management failures. How will the Premier ensure that the management of project improve, and by when will an improvement be seen? In response, Madam Speaker, the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, as the mandated implementing agent for infrastructure project, has over the years delivered several quality infrastructure projects to the province. The department implements infrastructure projects as prescribed by the Infrastructure Delivery Management System, as well as the Internal Project Management System. However, in recent time, the department has encountered some challenges that have affected performance. These challenges include the retirement and resignation of personnel with extensive technical capacity, the continuous disruption of infrastructure projects, and the effects of the enactment of the state of disaster and the hard lockdown that followed on the service provider's ability to complete work within the prescribed time frames. It is therefore important to note that the department has been granted dispensation to the critical vacant post that will assist and improve infrastructure delivery in the province. Furthermore, efforts are being made to develop a social facilitation strategy to engage communities in a bid to address the problems of community disruptions of projects. In addition, the department is in a process of developing the new Mpumalanga Infrastructure Master Plan that will, amongst others, introduce geographical information-based project management system, as well as strategies to improve infrastructure projects planning and management. It is anticipated, though, that the review and development of the new Mpumalanga Infrastructure Master Plan will be completed by December 2022. Question 3. The culture of poor control monitoring extends to the area of compliance with legislation. Officials continue to disregard supply chain and management laws and regulation in their procurement process. This resulted in increasing levels of irregular expenditure and created an environment vulnerable to misappropriation, wastage, and the abuse of state funds. What steps have been taken to discipline offenders and to bring down the unacceptable high amount of money wasted in this way? In response, Madam Speaker, the Office of the Premier, with the support of the Provincial Treasury, introduced the following measures. All senior managers and supply chain management officials are disclosing their financial interest on an annual basis, and their disclosures are verified by Public Service Commission. Supply chain management officials are rotated regularly across the SCM value chain in order to avoid collusive practices. Accounting officers are investigating all instances where unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure have been identified, and appropriation action is undertaken in accordance with the appropriate legislation, including the irregular expenditure framework. Question 4. How will the Premier ensure that administrative leadership aggressively monitors the implementation of actions to promote good governance in the province? My office has regular one-on-one sessions with all accounting officers in the province to address matters of governance such as consequence management and strengthening of internal controls. These sessions include oversight structures in the province such as the chairperson of audit committees and risk management committees, who must also account in terms of their mandate. In order to achieve and maintain effective internal controls that promote good governance is a day-to-day process which requires dedication and commitment from all role players. This entails that management and oversight structures must be actively involved in ensuring that effective systems of internal controls are implemented, maintained, and regularly reviewed. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Weber, do you have a follow-up question? Are there any follow-up questions from other honourable members? Can the Honourable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The next question is from Honourable Sidibe from EFF. Honourable Premier, about 2,000 employees lost their jobs at Optimum Mine, situated in Henrina, Steve Tshwete Municipality, due to the closure of the mine. As Africans, me and you knows very well that each employee is looking after a minimum of 10 family members and maximum of 10 extended family members. And this effectively means over 40,000 people are going to bed hungry due to job losses. Question 1. As this is directly contributing to the ever-rising unemployment rate in your province, what have you done to save the thousands of jobs sent uplifts poverty? Madam Speaker, mine closures are indeed a very painful exercise which result in massive job losses, not only in the mining industry, but also in related manufacturing industries that supply the mines. It also affects formal and informal businesses operating in and around that mine. Unfortunately, mining operations are conducted by the private sector and government has no operational control over them. When disputes occur and matters are taken to court of law or mining operations become financially unviable, government has little influence over such incidents or decisions to shut down mines. Our influence as government is limited to issuing mining rights through DMR and monitoring compliance with relevant legislations. Question 2. Have you ever engaged the BRPs in the mine to establish why the mine is still not operational and what is their BRP plan about the mine? In response, Madam Speaker, the business rescue practitioners are independent bodies, and their main mandate is to look after the interest of all the stakeholders, including that of workers and the investors. They are also expected to come up with business plans and strategies that will attract new investors in that mine. What makes the optimum mine issue even more complicated is that the erstwhile owners of the mine, who are now regarded as fugitive of law in South Africa, the Gupta family, are not in the country to account and facilitate the work of the rescue practitioners. However, we will continue to receive briefings on the developments at the mine and monitor the situation. Our government is also relentlessly pursuing the matter to bring the Guptas back to South Africa to account. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker.
Honourable Sidibe, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and greetings to you, the Premier, and all honourable members present. Well, in your response, Honourable Premier, we are saying that the government has no say in the running of the mine or in the mine operations. Now, and in my question, I indicated that this is affecting your provinces because I think on top of your priorities is job creation and protecting the current jobs in the province that we are in charge. Having said that, government has no say in the running of the mines because they are privately run. What is your view on the non-negotiable cardinal pillar number 2 of the EFF, nationalizations of mines and other strategic sectors of the economy? Don't you think that will be better? Because, as you have alluded, if government has no say in the running of the mines, which are run privately, if they are being nationalized, it will be under government, and government will have a say. So what is your view on that? Thank you.
Honourable Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. As Honourable Sidibe has correctly alluded to the fact that at the helm of our manifesto, as the African National Congress, we are saying that the first cardinal point is job creation. And what is our role in that regard? Ours is to make sure that we create an enabling environment for business to thrive within our shores. And that business, it comes in multi-facets. Some of those jobs are created through government-initiated projects, and some of them are created through investors coming to our respective provinces to come and invest. And therefore, it is of crucial interest to us to look after the investors as they are here. That will create sufficient job opportunities for our communities, because us alone as government will not be in a position to create those job opportunities. Now, the manifesto that I believe in, the manifesto which I was part when it was orchestrated, is the manifesto of the ruling party, which is the African National Congress. And it is the manifesto that I stand before for its implementation in this House. And therefore, to us as the African National Congress, we are making sure that every company that is viable, that shows a potential to be a potential investor within our shores, in line with the legislations that are enacted, we do give them an opportunity to come and do whatever business that they think it would be of benefit to the GDP of the country and also the community within that surrounding. Now, yes, we know nothing is static in life. And given all the challenges that are out there, we talk about the issue of taxation, we talk about the issue of COVID-19, we talk about other legislative requirements, we talk about the issue of load shedding, as Honorable Weber was citing earlier on, which have a direct impact on the day-to-day running of business. We must remember, we must not alive to the fact that for companies to thrive, they are working on profit margins. Now, if they don't make profit, it doesn't make business sense for them. They have to take strategic decision as to what is viable for them and what is not viable, despite all the challenges that are contained within that environment. And therefore, yes, we are saying that it is of interest for us as the African national-led government to attract investors to come and invest in our shores and have a long lifespan within our respective municipalities. And in that way, it will help us to alleviate quite a multi-number of challenges that we are faced with. Some are related to the low billing payouts of our municipalities because of the level of unemployment are very high within those municipalities. Then some of them will speak to the triple challenges, which is the inequality, unemployment, and poverty within our community. And of course, it will also eliminate elements of crimes within our municipalities. Hence, we are of the view that the sooner, the better we get investors to come into our shores. It pains us dearly to have mining companies having to leave our province, because that is our lifeblood line as the province of Mpumalanga. And therefore, as that happens, we must be worried. I am worried seated where I am, but do I have direct influence over that? Definitely not. It does even affect the revenue. We are seated here as members, so very worried about our state of our road infrastructures, which could have been dealt with if there is sufficient revenue injection within our fiscus. And how do we generate that revenue? By getting investors to come to our shores and make meaningful contribution to our GDP as the province. So that's how I can respond to your question in a nutshell. Thanks, Honourable Speaker.
Are there follow-up questions from other honourable members? Honourable Weber.
Through you, Madam Speaker. Madam Premier, do I hear you correctly that you are totally in agreement with your leader's statement that it's primarily the private sector that has to create jobs?
Honourable Premier.
Honourable Speaker, if I may refer the honourable member, I think in my maiden SOPA that I made, I think 2 years or 3 years ago, I did mention that fact, that government, it's a vehicle that creates a conducive environment for business to thrive. Coupled to that, it does not necessarily mean that government has no responsibility of creating jobs. As we all know, seated here, that there are initiatives that are initiated by government to make sure that people does get employment opportunities. And when we say we need to create a conducive environment, we are talking about the amenities that are needed for business to thrive within our municipalities. You know, how do you operate a mine where there is no constant supply of electricity? Whose responsibility is that? It's government. How do we make sure that there is mining by its nature? They need volumes and volumes of water for them to be much more operational. Now, if there is no dedicated bulk pipeline that is constant in that regard, how would it be possible for them to mine in that area? So we're speaking along those lines. Therefore, it's a question of how do you want to interpret the reality. The fact of the matter is we need each other. For government to try, for investors to come and say, we want to invest in the city of Mbombela. There are
pertinent questions that they will ask. They would be interested on the issue of basic services, and they want to be interested on the issue of policy certainty. Those would be the driving forces for them to say it is conducive. Whether would it be conducive for them to come and put their money where it matters the most or not? Otherwise, they will not be returned for them, and therefore they will not be interested. They will just leave there and there.
Honorable Nyembe.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Premier, through you, Chairperson, are you saying to this August House undoubtedly that the manifesto of the ruling party is the problem? Is it a problem? Is a problem?
Is the cause of the whole problem, the manifesto of the ruling party.
Honorable Premier.
Who's switching me on? Okay. Hey, how so? How so? I don't see it as a problem. Seated here, I am here to advance and champion its implementation. So therefore, it cannot be a problem. Where there are issues, there are shortcomings. As the African National Congress, we go back continuously, almost twice. There are makutlas where we sit back and review our policy positions, and we also review the implementation of our manifesto. And of course, if there are gaps that we identify, we always solicit ways and means as to how do we close off those gaps so that we respond appropriately to the challenges that we are facing. Seated where I am, there is no legislature that is perfect. Why do we have to have amendments to the legislation? Because they are by and large influenced by what is contained on the ground. As we all know that life evolves, it's not static. Today it's like this, it was conducive to implement it in its current form and nature. But tomorrow things changes to something else somehow, which will then necessitate the amendment to the legislation. And therefore, that's how everything is done. And therefore, I don't see the manifesto of the ruling party being problematic at this point in time. Hence, we are saying that each time there are new developments, we get together and we discuss what is contained on the ground, and we do thrive to endeavor to effect that in our manifestos for implementation by government. And I hope same goes with the EFF. So the manifesto that you had 10 years ago, obviously is not the same as you are having today. It goes with us as the African National Congress. What will direct us? We are going to be directed by what is contained on the ground.
Can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The next question is from Honorable Mahlangu from the ANC. Good road infrastructure makes a crucial contribution to economic development and growth and bring important social benefits. The announcement by SANRAL to upgrade the R40 between Hazyview and Bushbuckridge to an estimated cost of 3 billion rand is appreciated, as well as an upgrade project along the R573 between Kwaggafontein and Vlakplaas in Intensify, Hani Municipality. Most of municipal roads are in treacherous conditions, such as Bushbuckridge and Emalahleni, to mention a few. Question 1, in terms of the above, can the Premier elaborate on the provincial government strategy to improve and constantly maintain municipal road infrastructure?
In response, Madam Speaker, the province, through the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport, is currently reviewing the Mpumalanga Infrastructure Master Plan, which would guide in the development and maintenance of infrastructure in the province, including municipal roads. In the next financial year, the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport will implement a program for the paving of municipal roads in township and rural communities. And I want to emphasize this, and that is where our role goes as far as municipal roads. We are putting up pavings in municipal roads, particularly in townships and rural communities, so that we support the municipalities. Now, to that regard, we have since prioritized an amount of 1 billion rand to execute just that. The projects will include, amongst the others, the 26 kilometers of gravel roads upgraded to surface roads, 89 kilometer of surface roads rehabilitated, 864 square meters of surface roads resealed, 187 kilometers of gravel roads re-gravelled, 220 square meters of blacktop patching, 34,467 kilometers of gravel roads bladed, paving of municipal, township, and rural roads across the province, and construction, routine, and major maintenance of key tourism roads and or corridors in the province in collaboration with MTPA. More importantly, local municipalities supported by the districts have also set aside a budget to implement projects to improve the state of roads in municipalities. If I may cite an example, in the next coming financial year, an estimated budget of over 600 million rand from the Municipal Infrastructure Grant is prioritized for the implementation of roads and stormwater projects. Question 2. Are there any plans in place in implementing the district development model by engaging entities such as SANRAL to deal with the municipal road infrastructure? The province has realized an improvement in coordinating and collaborating work with entities such as SANRAL since the advent of the district development model. The district development model has introduced structures such as the DDM technical and DDM councils at district and provincial level to mobilize all sectors towards coordinated and integrated service delivery. SANRAL remains an active partner in the implementation of the DDM across the 3 districts and the province in general. Question 3. Can the Honourable Premier reflect on the turnaround time the provincial government set itself for municipal road infrastructure improvement? As government, we are committed to honouring our commitments to intervene on road infrastructure development and improvement. All roads infrastructure intervention to be identified in the Mpumalanga Infrastructure Master Plan shall be accompanied by a clear implementation plan with delivery targets. Thank you very much.
Honorable Mahlangu, do you have a follow-up question?
No, thank you, Honorable Premier, for your well response. As the legislature, we will make sure that we continue to monitor the implementation of your responses. Thank you.
Are there follow-up questions? Honorable Morgan.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question to the Honorable Premier is, we just would like to know what happened to the war on potholes, which was envisaged in 2017, and why has this project not gained any traction? Because the roads are getting worse, especially in the municipalities, and in 2017, there was a program that started saying war on potholes. What is happening to that? Thank you.
Honorable Premier.
Well, the project that I know of, it was more on water leaks, not on potholes. Probably it was another initiative that was there at the municipal level. But I want to indicate, Honorable Grove Morgan, that as provincial government, we are operating within the space of the municipalities. And each time we go there, they will raise issues pertaining to the potholes and whatever, what have you not. And we are not aloof to the fact that we coexist with our municipalities. If I may cite, you go to the municipality of Emalahleni, we are there doing something that is out of our scope, patching of potholes, assisting the municipality, because we know the magnitude and the level of potholes that are within that municipality. We are there through Public Works as this government to make sure that we assist the municipality to address that issue of potholes. The reason why we bought the jet patches is for us to try and save and minimize the cost of having to have contractors coming to the fore and charge us exorbitant money. Why don't we do it ourselves? Let's go and get the, what do we call it, the sulfate, whatever it is called, and use our own jet machine to do that, because of it has proven that the quality of cutting out those potholes and patching it, resealing them, it's a quality job, and therefore, which is something that we are embarking on, that we will be embarking on, working with our respective municipalities. And we must appreciate the fact that our municipalities, this is the new administration. We've had the Lukhotla where we deliberated quite extensively on these issues. And as I'm seated here, they've already produced the draft IDPs, which COGTA is at the fore to work with them to make sure that in those IDP, in those draft IDPs, they don't lose out on critical issues, which has to do with water, which has to do with the road infrastructure, and of course, other critical amenities within the municipalities. We are going to watch that very closely, and we are certain that our concern, it is their concern. They have genuinely demonstrated that during our engagement, and of course, through our PCFs, we will have to monitor and check progress as to what is it that has been done so far, and how do we intervene in which areas as provincial government to make sure that we assist the municipalities in accelerating on service delivery as well.
Honorable Mfokeng.
Thanks, Honourable Speaker. Just a short question to our Premier. I just want to check, in terms of Section 29 Act of 2009, with regarding the SLP document under the MRDA, is it not possible to engage the mining companies to contribute for the repairs of these roads around Mpumalanga? Because if you look at Msukwaleko from Emelo to Caroline, that road is used most and get damaged by the TMMs operating in that road. Lastly, it's also in Standerton, main town, R53 from KZN linking with Gauteng. That road is in tatters. So is it possible that you as a Premier, the head, you push for these mining companies to contribute into this? Thanks, Speaker.
Honorable Premier.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I'm really glad to hear that what the Honourable Member has raised. You and I were together in that one. I'm a firm believer that the sachet levies must be increased, especially where in overhaulage road networks, where it is by and large used by the mining companies. So let's increase those levies, because they are the ones who are
wearing off our road infrastructure, which we initiated that discussion to say that why can't we look at that in a way, let them contribute for the damage that they are making, because by and large, those roads are worn out by them. There's not much of traffic as a result of small cars that communities are using. And in the main, those cars, you'd find that are their employees going to work, but then by and large, it is them that they are utilizing those. I firmly agree with you in that regard, that if we can do that, I am certain that we can generate quite a substantive amount that can assist to accelerate in the renovation of those road infrastructure network, which are becoming very dangerous and deadly areas for our communities as well.
Can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question?
The next question is from Honorable Makaringe from the ANC. During the State of the Province address in 2021, our Honorable Premier said that our people are yearning for land, and they have told us in no uncertain terms. As ANC-led government that listens and responds to what people say, we have released 33 farms totaling to 8,906 hectares throughout the province. Now, question 1. In light of the above, can Honourable Premier give us a progress report on the implementation of the above initiatives? In response, the province is happy to announce that all the released 33 farms have been successfully advertised and allocated. We are currently training emerging farmers. There is currently training that is underway to impart skills that will result in the optimal usage of the land. Question 2. Can the Honourable Premier elaborate on the general improvement of our youth in agriculture with eager emphasis on Fortune 40 youth program? In response, Madam Speaker, the Fortune 40 Young Farmer Incubation Program is a provincial flagship program that seeks to capacitate young persons to become sustainable farmers. The existence of the Fortune 40 program is greatly assisting the province to address the socio-economic challenges of youth unemployment, rural poverty, food security, aging farmers, and local economic challenges, amongst other things. The program is exposing the youth to practical farming, where they produce livestock, crop, and aquaculture, whilst being provided with training on accredited courses. The youth are supplying their produce to formal and informal markets across the province. Question 3. How many youth have benefited in this program since its inception, and what support will these farmers receive from government? The overall number of youth that have benefited from the Fortune 40 program since inception is 712 youth. Of this number, 364 learners have completed and received their learnership certificates, whilst 198 youth are on site and are close to completing the targets of the program. The support provided by government to Fortune 40 graduated youth includes linking them to other programs of the DADLIA to access production support and services, linking them with land custodians such as DALRRD, traditional leaders, municipalities, and the Department of Public Works, Roads and Transport to access agricultural land, and further linking them with the different financial institutions that could offer financial help. Question 4. Can the Honourable Premier share some light on how they are going to provide training to the emerging farmers regarding 30-year leasehold with an option to buy? The Department of Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development is currently running a program to train farmers utilizing state land to ensure that the land is productive. The intention is to graduate these farmers to a level of commercialization and ultimately purchase the land. Farmers are provided with infrastructural and production inputs, funding to ensure that they remain productive and or sustain their productivity. Commodity organizations have been called in through contracts to ensure that they are transferring the necessary skills.
in respect of NEPO and SALGA being some of the organization working with these farmers. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Oh, Honourable Chair of Chairs.
Is there any follow-up question, Honourable Makaringa?
Yeah, thank you, Acting Speaker. The Honourable Premier has gone deeper in terms of responding. As such, I don't have further question.
Is there any follow-up questions, Honourable Member? Honourable Nyembe?
Thank you, Honourable Chair of Chairs. Honourable Premier, why is our government allowing the whites who are leasing the land that is owned by the government to chase the farm dwellers who are staying in the farms for longer than the people who are leasing? They don't own the land is owned by the government is leasing to them, but they are chasing our people out of the farms and making them suffer without any housing. Why is the government doing that? Thank you.
Honourable Premier.
Honourable Speaker, I don't think as government will ever allow such to happen. And indeed, if it does happen, can we request the honourable members to give us the exact area where such occurrences are happening so that we can make follow-up on them? And indeed, if there are elements of injustice, they must be addressed and be dealt with, because that land belongs to government. Now, it cannot be that today you find people seated there. And by the way, most of those people, they are their workers. If you may notice that some of them, they demanded that they've been there for quite some time, and therefore they need to start their own farming activities. As government, we have since intervened in that regard and allocated with them with land. We have funds for that. We have made sure that we gave them all the implants that they need so that they too can make produce their produce, and which can then be taken to the market. And we are quite happy with the progress that they are making, although it might not be absolutely satisfactory for them as well. And it comes with its own challenges, which we are actively following up to make sure that we assist those. Yes, I agree, Honourable Member. If indeed there are such occurrences, we want our people to stay in harmony, and they must make sure that they work together at all times to make sure that we preserve the sovereignty of this country. That to us, it is important.
Is there any further follow-up question, Honourable Morgan? And then Honourable Sidibe will follow.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honourable Premier, besides the training that you provide for these farmers, I'm now not only speaking of Fortune 40, but the training you provide for these farmers, is there other steps that you or this provincial government assists these farmers with to make a success of their farm? Because if we go to these farms and we do oversights, we notice that most of them don't succeed. They end up falling apart, the farms are depleted. Are there any steps that you or the provincial government have in place to assist these farmers to make a success? Thank you.
Premier.
Thanks, Chair of Chairs. I think Honourable Rove Morgan, the reason why we're emphasizing in this response the issue of training, it comes in different ways, some of which will have to speak to the management skills and also how best can one manage the farm? And we are agreeing, and it's precisely what we have raised. It's as a result of the dilapidation of those farming lands. Now, we have invested a lot of money, but go there a year or 2 years or so, you'd find hardly anything there. It's either we're giving people land for farming that doesn't know how to farm, or they are not interested in the farming area. And therefore, everything is driven by passion. So the reason why we want to couple that in terms of the plantation, that is given, it's automatic. We'll give them the plantation and develop their farming areas and put them in the right state. Be it fencing it, putting up the boreholes, and mechanize the farm, give them all the necessary implants, and then we also till the land for them before the farming season, and all those things, they come with the package. But then, how do you maintain it such that whatever that you have grown, you are able to produce and make effective use of it? It becomes a challenge to some of the farmers. Some of them, you go back there, we've given them land, they've turned them into communal houses. They've already rented the area. It's no longer used for what it's intended for. And we've taken a conscious decision to say, if we find such, therefore the intention was not there to farm. You know, you are lazy, you're not prepared to utilize the land for what it is intended for. We'll ask you out so that we afford other people who's got keen interest to do exactly what is expected of that. So the issue of training, it comes in multifacets so that we deal with the personality traits and skills that are needed so that at the end of the day, they can be able to focus and do well in the core business that they are running.
Thank you very much, Honorable Premier. I have exceeded the 2 follow-up questions in terms of our rules. We are then moving to the next question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair of Chairs. With regards, the question is from Honorable Sitole from DA. With regards to the mobile clinics provided to the people of Mpumalanga by the Provincial Department of Health, can the Premier please indicate the following? How many mobile clinics were operational in 2019, 2020, 2021 across the province? In response, in the financial year 2019-20, we had a total number of 101 mobile clinics, of which 67 were operational and 34 were on and off due to challenges. In the 2020-21 financial year, we had 92, of which 46 were operational and the other 46, they were on and off due to challenges. In 2021-22, we had 92, 47 were operational, 45 were not optimally operational. Question 2. Can the Honourable Premier state the reasons as to why mobile clinics have been suspended in certain areas across the province? The reasons as to why mobile clinics have been suspended in certain areas across the province are as follows. The COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in the suspension of some of the mobile clinics due to their design, which does not accommodate COVID-19 protocols, like, for example, the inadequate ventilation and social distancing, shortage of mobile clinics because of some being old and non-functional, having frequent mechanical breakdowns, poor road conditions, infrastructure, and mountainous and gravel roads being one of the main causes. Shortage of staff, mainly the drivers. Question 3. The Department of Health suspended mobile services to the farming communities in the Victor Kanye municipality, such as Sandra, Ritgol, and Elof, more than a year ago due to the driver resigning. Honourable Premier, what was the challenge for government that halted the appointment of the new driver? In response, due to budgetary constraints, the department was unable to accomplish the appointment of staff. The department has since secured funding for the appointment of staff. The process of recruitment has been initiated and the vacancy shall be filled before the end of April 2022. Question 4. Can the Premier state why government recently stopped providing a mobile clinic to farm JR 226 in Kangala? What challenges is government facing in resuming the mobile clinic? The mobile services were stopped due to the shortage of staff. The delay in filling the post was due to budgetary constraints. The department has since secured funding for the appointment of staff. The recruitment and selection process is underway. Question 5. What was the budget for mobile clinics in 2019-20, and what is the budget plan for 2022-23? And can the Premier state with absolute certainty when will mobile services be fully operational, and what contingency plans, if any, has government put in place to ensure the people are still able to get medical treatment? In response, for 2019-20 budget, we had 0. For 22-23 budget, we are going to procure 30 mobile clinics with an estimated budget of 22,486,248 rands. The mobile clinic staff, we are going to recruit them to a tune of about 14,789,388.60 cents. The total, which takes us to 37,275,636.60 cents. Absolute certainty when will mobile service be fully operational? The mobile clinics will be procured in the 2022-23 financial year. The process of procurement includes procuring panel vans, conversion of the panel van into mobile clinic, branding of the mobile clinic, procurement of number plates. The mobile clinic services will be functional by the 1st of October 2022. The following contingency plans are in place to ensure that people are still able to get medical treatment. Central chronic medicine dispensing and distribution area, external pickup points close to communities are identified where chronic medication for the patients is delivered. The ward-based PHC outreach teams, community health workers to assist with the delivery of medication to their clients in the household, which they support. Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Yes.
Honourable Sitole, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I just want to find out from the Honourable Premier, now that we have secured funding for the mobile clinics for 2022-23, plus the staff, because of course the mobile clinic need to be equipped with resources like human resources as well. Will this come at a cost of something from the department, like they'll have to compromise something to have staff for the mobile clinics, or is it a budget that was secured separately and it will not affect other services in the Department of Health? Thank you very much.
Honourable Premier.
Thanks, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, we want to indicate that that money has since been allocated in this current financial year as a standalone item, so that we don't compromise other critical contingency services within the department. This is a very critical department, and therefore we can't just willy-nilly take off the money where it is not necessary. Yes, of course, if they are saving somewhere, we would gladly take those savings and add on to what we have so that we can expand on the number of ambulances that we can procure within the province.
Are there follow-up questions from other honourable members? Can the Honourable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. The next question is from Honourable Weber. It has come to the attention of the Freedom Front Plus that the Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs has undertaken the drilling of boreholes in 2021. Yet in 2019, Dr. J.S. Moroka Municipality spent 8.6 million on 19 boreholes, and some of these were drilled on the private properties of its councillors and officials. 2 companies that drilled the boreholes on behalf of the municipality were paid between 563,000 and 869,000 per borehole, when the going price was in fact around 30,000 rand per borehole at the time. Number 1, has an investigation been launched into the above matter, and has any steps been taken against officials who had boreholes drilled in their properties? Will all municipalities be investigated to ensure that boreholes are drilled for the use of the communities and not for the use of officials only? In response, the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs has conducted an investigation in terms of Section 106, subsection 1B of the Municipal System Act of 2000 in Dr. J.S. Moroka Local Municipality. The investigation was completed in March 2020. The investigation report was then handed over to the Council to develop an action plan responding to these findings. This investigation was as a result of various allegations of maladministration and corruption in the municipality brought to the attention of the MEC. One of the allegations included irregularities in supply chain management, including the procurement of boreholes. The municipality is addressing the recommendation of the investigation report as per the action plan approved by the Council. The matter of the borehole and all other irregularities was already reported to the law enforcement agencies, and they are attending to it. We are aware that there will be arrests soon. If any allegations of maladministration and corruption are brought to the attention of government, I can assure you that this will be investigated thoroughly, and those found guilty of wrongdoing will face the full might of the law. Question 2. How many boreholes have been drilled in the province since January 2019, and where exactly are these boreholes? In response, in 2019, a total of 867 boreholes have been drilled across the province within various wards, with 275 drilled in Ehlanzeni district, 126 drilled in Kangala district, and 466 drilled in Garsibande district municipality. These boreholes are drilled to augment existing bulk water supply as a short-term intervention. These efforts on the drilling of boreholes include contributions from the provincial, national, and local government. Question 3. Please indicate the price of each individual borehole as well as the depth of each borehole drilled, and which companies were awarded the tender for the drilling. Please list the services that made up to the total price per borehole. The prices of each borehole will differ per area because of water availability and area geology. The cost will be informed by the depth of the borehole, which will vary between 40 meter to 120 meter depth in some instances. The scope of the work for the drilling of boreholes will include, amongst others, professional services, preliminary planning, scoping, technical reports, detailed planning and design, preparation of construction drawing, preparation of tender documents, evaluation and adjudication of tenders, administration and supervision of construction, and community liaison. Conducting geohydrological study, siting of borehole, drilling and casting, borehole yield testing, installation of submersible pumps, motors, control panel, and cabling, installation of transformers, power sources, the installation of polyethylene water tanks per borehole, installation of standpipes per borehole, and installation of chemical dosing system depending on class of the water. Question 4. Has a study been done to ensure that Mpumalanga has enough groundwater to sustain the planned amount of boreholes in the province? It is important to indicate that studies done previously are dated and may not be reflecting the current status quo of the level of water tables in all district areas. This is also underpinned by the volume of rainfalls we have been receiving over the years. According to the Department of Water and Sanitation Dam Level Monitoring System, the dam levels in the province are at an average of 93.2%. This percentage indicates that the province has been receiving more water through rainfall in the recent months, and it is undoubted that the underground water volumes have improved. In determining the sustainability of underground water, the Department of Water and Sanitation and Ikomati Isutu Catchment Management Agency, supported by COCTA and MISA, are finalizing the groundwater mainstreaming study for the province, which shall provide more information on groundwater sustainability. This initiative was embarked upon to respond to the challenge of drought, which normally affects the Ehlanzeni district, in particular the city of Mbombela, and continue to affect Nkangala district in the areas of Tembisile and Dr. JS municipalities. This is so because the Mtombo dam in Dr. JS Moroka municipality remains below 30% even after the persistent rains since October 2021 to February 2022. Thank you very much.
Honorable Weber, do you have a follow-up question?
Madam Speaker, we do not have a problem with the principle of sinking boreholes. The problem we have is that the average price for sinking a borehole in the private sector is something like 60 to 100,000 rand per borehole. But we hear about figures of 295 rand on average per borehole sunk by these contractors. In some instance, 800,000 rand for one borehole, 8 million rand for 10 boreholes. Don't you agree with me that that is an alarming situation?
Can I take the point of order, Honorable Shongwe?
Mbonga Somlomo, just on a point of procedure in the House, I think as members of this House, all of us, maybe it's my misunderstanding. You see, when a question is asked by an honorable member, that particular honorable member is expected to be in the chamber when the Premier or the MEC is responding. And in this case, Honorable Weber was not in the House when the Premier started responding. Then how do you do a follow-up question for responses that you were not listening to? I think let us be serious as honorable members, prepare for our questions, listen to responses so that you respond to what have been responded to. Because we will be having a number of people in the gallery here, educated, who notices our responses, and they will not take us serious as a House. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Shongwe. We'll request the members that they must be here when their questions are answered by the Honorable Premier, so that we don't repeat what the Premier have just responded to. Honorable Weber.
Please bear with me, Madam Speaker. There are certain things over which I do not have control.
Are there follow-up questions from other honorable members? If there's none, can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Premier.
Yes.
Sorry, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Sidibe.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the same question as the earlier question from the EFF was entertained in this House during the SOPA debate and the responses from the Premier, including in the Portfolio Committee. I remember even raised the issue of securing a land which she refused to buy for 30 million, 5 hectares. So most of the things were covered in this regard. We can omit the question. But maybe on a lighter note in future, because we write questions before debates, we must just deal with the timing so that we don't repeat things from our side. But that's for the programming committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Sidibe. Can the Honorable Premier proceed to the next question, which is from Honorable Lubisi, and I have received an apology, and Honorable Mlombo will stand in for him.
Okay. Thanks, Honorable Speaker. The next question is from Honorable Lubisi from the ANC. The Premier said in her State of the Province address that in recognition of our commitment to ensure that government operates in an integrated and efficient manner, we will continue to exercise oversight over local government in line with the provisions of the Constitution. Our priority is in ensuring that the people of Mpumalanga are afforded access to basic services. Question 1. Regarding the above, is the Honourable Premier aware that many of our communities continue to struggle to access water and sanitation, and sewer spillage is also one of the most concerning factors? Yes, I am aware, Honourable Speaker, that there are some of community members across our municipalities which have challenges in accessing consistent and sustainable basic services. The recent General Household Survey indicates that in the province, 85% of our households have access to water, while 64% of our households have access to flush toilets. The areas most affected by the water challenges in respect of access are the Tembisi Lehani, Dr. J.S. Moroka, and some parts of the city of Mbombela and Bushbuck-Ridge local municipalities. And I'm sure honorable members will appreciate why specifically these municipalities in relation to the response I gave you earlier on. The challenge of water access emanates from water sources challenges which have been worsened over the years by drought and inadequate bulk infrastructure. The other challenges is the fact that bulk infrastructure such as water treatment works and wastewater treatment works are operating beyond their design capacity. Consequently, sewer spillages become evident as a result of bulk infrastructure operating beyond their design capacity. The lack of technical skills in municipalities is compounding the problem, as this can be observed through poor planning, resulting in delayed infrastructure projects implementation. Question 2. Can the Honourable Premier share with us on her plans to expedite delivery of water and sanitation services, and how best can we turn around our municipalities for the better? In response, Madam Speaker, in the current financial year 2021-22, a total of 2.4 billion rand has been set aside for the implementation of water and sanitation projects through various grant funding. The contribution of each grant funding is as follows: Regional Bulk Infrastructure Grant, which is at the tune of 743 million rand, the Water Service Infrastructure Grant, which is at the tune of 721 million rand, Municipal Infrastructure Grant, which is at the tune of 951 million rand, the Integrated Urban Development Grant at the tune of 30 million rand. The distribution of the budget across the 3 districts is as follows. Nkangala, we've allocated them 568 million rand, whilst in Kharsimande, we've allocated them 1 billion rand. Ehlanzeni, we've allocated them 844 million rand. And again, Madam Speaker, when you look at these figures, they will not be sufficient
given the fact of the recent Zero report that was released that indicates the population growth, particularly around Nkangala and Ehlanzeni. So our population is growing quite exponentially in those municipalities. But when we look at the allocations of the amounts, they may not necessarily meet the exact demand as it is contained within the municipality. However, we need to make sure that we spend these resources prudently so that we can cover up a lot of groundwork in that regard. So in the next coming year, we'll have to find other alternative ways so that we can increase and expand on the allocation. And yes, we are waiting with keen interest the census release, the census data that will be released soon, because they've already started with their work, so that it will also depict a proper picture, which by and large will collaborate with the Zero report that we have. That will inform our planning and our budgeting so that we focus where it matters the most. And again, Madam Speaker, as I have indicated earlier on, the processes are underway for the development of the Mountain View Regional Dam in the city of Mbombela and Gabosch Dam at Amsterdam within Kondo Municipality are part of the long-term solution to the water problem. The province is also working with DWS to finalize the Provincial Water Master Plan, which would assist the province in unlocking the water and sanitation challenges. In addition, an action plan is under development with the focus on addressing sewer spillages. The province is already visible in municipalities responding to the challenge of sewer spillages through the Department of COGTA and the Department of Human Settlement. In accelerating the planning of the 2022-23 financial year projects, the province has advised municipalities to set aside at least between 50% and 75% of MIC funding to prioritize water and sanitation-related projects. We confirm that the province is also not approving municipal implementation plans with projects not aligned to the provincial direction on the prioritization of water and sanitation. The planning and prioritization of infrastructure development is the only way for the province to turn around our municipalities to improve on the delivery of water and sanitation services. Hence, the master planning program is being implemented. Question 3. What intervention does the office provide to municipalities that are failing in their duties to provide delivery of basic service water to our people? And what support is the office providing to the affected municipalities? In response, through the Department of COGTA, we provide technical support to municipalities whenever challenges are experienced. This intervention has been visible in Lekwa, where the department repaired the Standerton water treatment works to improve water quality. We've also fixed the sewer spillages in Sakile and repaired traffic lights which were not working. Currently, the department is assisting Lekwa municipality in the status quo assessment of its civil infrastructure assessment. This will help the municipality to identifying the current status quo of their water infrastructure in relation to the current water demand. Department of Water and Sanitation has also appointed a service provider to conduct feasibility studies of water and sanitation infrastructure in Lekwa, Emalahleni and Kondo municipalities to determine the cost required to address their water and sanitation infrastructure. We address sewer spillages in the Bethel within Govenbegi municipality and also address the problem of sewer spillages in Coromandel within Tabacheu municipality supported by Ehlanzeni district municipality. We also deployed or seconded staff to some municipalities whenever the support is required. This has been the case with the secondment of the municipal manager in Lekwa municipality and recently in Suba Lekwa municipality. Number 4, what plans does the office have to end the frequent water interruption in our communities, and how best can we speed up on basic service delivery infrastructure? As indicated earlier on, Speaker,
The province is working with DWS to finalize the Provincial Water Master Plan, which will assist the province in unlocking the water and sanitation challenges. It is important to highlight that feasibility studies have commenced for the construction of the Mountain View Regional Dam, which would provide water relief to the city of Mbombela. The construction of Gapos Dam in Amsterdam, which is at detailed design stage, will also provide relief to the community of Mkondo. The finalization of the service level agreement for the operation of the Hoshani water scheme between City of Mbombela and Bushbuck-Ridge municipalities is at an advanced stage. This scheme will benefit the northern Tsigazi area within the jurisdiction of the City of Mbombela. The bulk water scheme from Loskop Dam, which is slightly over 1 billion, shall benefit both the people of Tembisilehane and Dr. J.S. Moroka municipalities. The project is ready for implementation as of 2022-23 financial year. The province, working with municipalities and DWS, is working on water demand and conservation strategies to reduce water losses and ensure that more water is available for consumption. The prioritization of infrastructure development is the mechanism to speed up the delivery of infrastructure for basic services. Moreover, the province, through the Provincial Project Management Unit, is providing technical support to the project management units across municipalities to improve project planning and implementation. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Mlombo, do you have a follow-up question?
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think I must thank the Honorable Premier because I've been listening to the responses. They are comprehensively detailed. But there is a matter which I want to raise, and I think the Premier would have appreciated that today we are having 21 questions, and 10 of the 21 questions, they deal with service delivery at local government. That is how serious this House is with regard to ensuring that there is service delivery at local government. We will follow up at portfolio committee level in terms of all the commitments that the Honorable Premier have made, and ensure that when we come back in the next oral question session, those commitments, most of them, would have moved a distance in terms of their implementation. I thank you, Honorable Speaker. The questions have been very comprehensively responded to. Thank you.
Are there follow-up questions? Honorable Fokeng.
Thanks, Speaker. I just want to understand, it's a question, what the Premier has responded on. During the SOPA, I'm quite sure it's 2019 or somewhere, she addressed the issue that, in this question, that the sewer system blockages, it will be resolved. They are in partnership with the synthetic fuels and gas to liquid company in Second, Sasol. So now, when I hear her respond, she says, the sewer system has been resolved. I am from Kavinenberg. Even in town, at Benimulokwane Road, there is a blockage of sewers. The whole township, in the 3 triangle township, Leandra, Embalent, and Betalim Zinon, there is blockage. What did the Premier is going to do for those who have misled her and to say it has been resolved? That is the first question. The second question is that project that she mentioned during SOPA with the synthetic fuels and gas to liquid company, Sasol. How far is it in order to resolve this issue of the sewer system? Thanks, Speaker.
Honorable Premier.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I don't know, maybe it's a question of listening or what, but then I can just go back there. I said we address sewer spillages in Bethel within the Governbegi municipalities and also addressed the problem of sewer spillages in Coromandel within the Tabacho municipalities. We have addressed that. It is an ongoing. There's no way we can say that
for certain where we are. I know for the fact, because I normally go as well and do the oversight, that the issue of sewer spillage has been done with in Governbeki in particular. I understand precisely what the problem is. And yes, he is correct. Sasol was also at the fore, working hand in glove with us as a province and also the municipality to make sure that we address the issue of spillage. If we may cite the issue of sewer spillage around Leandra, it was addressed, but then as we were dealing with that, we realized that even the sewer reticulation plant is not up to scratch. It is something that we need to address as well, so that there is proper flow in terms of the outlet of the sewer challenges that the municipality is seized with. Yes, we agree. Sasol has made an undertaking, which is a good initiative to say that as government, we are opening our doors for you to come and allow your operators of water treatment plants to be trained free of charge so that they can operate optimally and as per the requirements, so that you are in a better position to achieve a blue drop status. So it is an initiative that we are undertaking, which we have shared equally with our municipalities, and they are very much keen to say that let us send our operators. All that is needed of them is just to pay for accommodation. Everything else is free of charge. So we are exploring, looking at other avenues to say how best can we improve our network systems so that we can function optimally. And we appreciate the fact that with the resources at our disposal, we will not win this battle alone as government. We need strategic partners so that they too can contribute to the challenges that we are facing. And we don't need them to contribute financially to us. They can source out their own team, technical expertise that will come. Their resources, they can be given to someone whom they can trust and hold accountable to go and assist in that regard. Thanks, Honourable Speaker.
We have come to the end of the question time. Thank you, Honourable Premier. The Secretary shall read the second order of the day.
Order number 2, consideration of reports of the Select Committee on Public Accounts on the 2020-2021 audit outcomes for the following departments and entities. 2.1, Department of Agriculture, Rural Development, Land and Environmental Affairs, vote 5. 2.2, Department of Community Safety, Security and Liaison, vote 9. 2.3, Department of Culture, Sports and Recreation, vote 11. 2.4, Department of Health, vote 10. 2.5, Provincial Treasury, vote 3. 2.6, Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. 2.7, Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, vote 4.
I now call upon the Honourable Mlombo to table the reports of the Public Accounts Committee.
Honourable Speaker, I rise on behalf of the Select Committee to table all the reports as presented for consideration by the House. Thank you.
I am informed that there is no debate on these reports. Now the question before the House is whether we agree to adopt the reports as tabled by Honourable Mlombo. Agreed to? As so agreed. That concludes the business for the day. You are all requested to remain standing in your places until the procession has left the chamber. The House is adjourned until Friday, the 25th of March, 2022 at 10 o'clock in this very same chamber.
All rise.